I'm going to go over every bad decision made in SpongeBob's Rock Bottom and explain what I would have done differently. SpongeBob starts instantly, making multiple bad decisions in seconds of this episode starting. So SpongeBob and Patrick just enjoyed an amazing fun day at Glove World, and they need to get home now, which means they need to catch a bus. So the bus comes, and here's where SpongeBob makes his first bad decision. He has no idea where this bus is going, and to be fair, there are no signs on the bus indicating where it's going, and the bus driver never says, "Hey, bus to Rock Bottom." But SpongeBob should have asked where the bus was going, but he did not, and he is more worried about getting his wallet to pay the bus fare instead. While trying to get his wallet, he smacks the bus driver with his balloon 7 times. Yes, 7 times. This was SpongeBob's biggest mistake, and this is actually one of the leading causes to SpongeBob not being able to escape Rock Bottom, but we'll get into that later. Obviously, smacking the dude that is driving you is a dumb idea, not to mention SpongeBob ended up not paying him because the bus driver said forget it because he did not want to get smacked anymore. So SpongeBob now has made an enemy. This is actually extremely easy to avoid. As soon as SpongeBob got onto the bus, he should have handed the balloon to Patrick, since Patrick instantly sat down. Then he should have looked for his wallet to pay the bus dude. And you might be like, oh, maybe he didn't have 50 cents though. Nah, he had 50 cents. Because later in the episode, we literally watched SpongeBob shove 2 quarters into this vending machine. Anyways, in this scene as well, we were supposed to think SpongeBob was oblivious to the fact he was beating up the bus driver with a balloon, but that doesn't make much sense. There is absolutely no way SpongeBob did not hear this dude go, SpongeBob was kind of a jerk for this. In this situation, you just gotta respect the bus driver and pay him. But obviously, SpongeBob did not do that. So mid-bus ride, Patrick notices a sign that says now leaving Bikini Bottom. And they then head down this 90-degree road that sends SpongeBob and Patrick right into the front of the bus, allowing the bus driver to throw them out. And even though SpongeBob says this is not the right stop, since he made enemies with the bus driver, he does not care. Now, before I explain how you could potentially stop the bus driver from throwing you out, I want to focus on this green fish from earlier. So this man was obviously on the bus, right? And he definitely is not from Rock Bottom. He's a regular fish. Not to mention, when SpongeBob and Patrick arrived at Rock Bottom, this dude was literally nowhere to be seen. This means this dude got off at some stop before Rock Bottom. So they actually might have been on the right bus, but they were so distracted showing off all their goodies from Glove World, they missed the stop. They definitely should have been paying attention. Now back to the present moment. How could they have prevented bus driver dude from throwing them out? So the only reason he was able to throw them out easily is because they were at the front of the bus. Now for my deep analyzation, I did not see any seatbelts on the bus. So just simply putting on your seatbelt is out of the question. But SpongeBob mid falling down this row was able to walk halfway down the aisle. So instead of just walking down the aisle, honestly not sure what he was trying to achieve doing this, they should have crouched behind one of the seats to prevent them from flying forward to the front of the bus. While it's still hard to know if the bus driver would be paid enough to walk to the back of the bus and throw them out, this definitely gives them a higher chance at not being thrown out. Also, not to mention, if my theory is right about the green fish getting off on a stop before, this means SpongeBob and Patrick flying up and smacking him was his last straw, and the reason he kicked them out and left them there. But regardless of what happens, this would be their only option at this point. But they're not smart like Max, so they are now in Rock Bottom, which is a terrifying place with deep sea fish who look like they could kill Patrick and SpongeBob easily. This is obviously a place you do not want to be, and believe it or not, they could actually escape without a bus. So Patrick is a starfish, meaning he can literally stick to things, so he could have just climbed the wall. Now for SpongeBob, it's a little more complicated. As we know, SpongeBob can morph himself into literally anything, so he should be able to morph a part of himself into suction cups and climb the wall. While that's more of a theory, there's actually an episode called Earworm where SpongeBob loses it and breaks all laws of physics, crawling all around his pineapple like a spider, showing he can literally climb walls, meaning he should have been able to just climb this wall and escape Rock Bottom. And if that's somehow not canon, SpongeBob could just grab Patrick's arm and go up with him. The thing is though, that would be lame for plot reasons. So like I said, this place seems pretty dangerous and scary, and usually in these scenarios, most smart people know to never split up, but we are talking about probably the dumbest people in Bikini Bottom, so they instantly split up. The reason for this is because SpongeBob wants to get a bus schedule, which I think is pretty stupid. It's not like SpongeBob is going anywhere down here. Dude's literally just gonna stand at the bus stop regardless. This was a dumb idea. Anyways, literally seconds after splitting up, Patrick gets on a bus and just leaves SpongeBob. I'm honestly not sure why he did this. He could have at least told the bus driver, "Hey bro, can we wait for my friend?" Patrick is truthfully a pretty bad friend for this. Regardless though, SpongeBob should have never tried to get the bus schedule. That was stupid, dumb idea, stupid. So SpongeBob runs after the bus. And I'm not gonna lie, he gets at least least halfway up this road, which is impressive, but he does not reach the top. We then get a compilation of SpongeBob missing the bus over and over again. You could argue the reason for this is because SpongeBob kept getting distracted. For example, chasing his balloon, tying his shoe, trying to get a snack out of the vending machine. The thing is though, usually buses will wait a second for people to get on and then take off. And in the scene where SpongeBob morphed his body into a bench, the bus actually does do this. But as soon as he turns back into himself, the bus takes off, which makes it pretty obvious the buses are toying with him. There are theories that because of what Bob did earlier harassing the bus driver let every other bus driver know not to pick up a yellow sponge, technically blacklisting him from ever getting a ride on a bus. I know SpongeBob was a jerk in the beginning, but he's pretty much a kid, and now he's stuck in rock bottom. That's a different kind of petty. I would have at least took him home and then blacklisted him. Now in SpongeBob's present scenario, you have to think outside of the sponge box. For real though, SpongeBob should have known from the first two buses that just took off as soon as they saw him that he was not gonna simply just walk onto a bus. So here's the absolute master plan to actually getting on the bus. Firstly, SpongeBob needs to become a barricade in the road, either becoming a rock or a fence or something. It just has to block the bus's path. This will make the bus stop in the middle of the road. Now it's hard to know if the bus will just go around him or if the bus driver will get out. So hoping the bus driver gets out and then sneaking on is a very risky chance. This is why instead, when the bus finally stops, SpongeBob needs to lunge towards the bus and stick onto it. And then bam, he gets a ride back to Bikini Bottom. Also real quick, there is a moment where SpongeBob could have stuck himself to the bus. You see, SpongeBob was trying to get his kelp candy out of the vending machine, and he tricks the bus and doesn't grab the candy and runs towards the bus. And in this exact scene right here, we can see he is pretty much next to the bus, meaning he could have stuck himself to it or wrapped himself around it, but he instead decides to go to the bus stop, trying once again to hope the bus driver lets him on. This was a missed opportunity, and also he loses his candy in this scene, which is pretty sad. Now anyways, SpongeBob, as we can tell, is not learning his lesson from this bus, and while SpongeBob is being kinda smart, morphing into a bench and getting a cardboard cutout of himself, he genuinely wants to be invited onto the bus, which we both know is not going to happen. But SpongeBob cannot comprehend this. So after way too many failed attempts, he still does not want to give up, and he decides to now get a bus schedule. I already explained how dumb I think that is, but SpongeBob just needs a bus schedule. So he goes to the bus station, and for some odd reason, this place is packed, which makes no sense. I never saw one rock bottom fish get on that bus, but plot reasons, I understand, I get it, I'm understandable of this. SpongeBob though is 332nd in line and pretty much wastes his entire day in this line just for the last bus to come for the night, and now he is cooked. It's pretty obvious this was a dumb idea, not to mention it seems time down here is very different. I mean, look at this clock. There is no way that SpongeBob would even comprehend the times on this schedule. If the last bus leaving wasn't already bad, all the lights shut off in rock bottom, and he is now in advanced darkness. And since SpongeBob is a sponge and not an anglerfish, he can't see nothing, which is terrifying. He also starts hearing noises running towards him. And SpongeBob, believe it or not, is smarter than like 99% of characters in horror movies. And he actually runs away from the scary noise, which is smart. I do the exact same thing. Since he can't see though, he runs right into the 90-degree road, which is not his fault. Turns out though, the sound chasing him was a dude from earlier who chased his balloon. And he actually helps SpongeBob and ties the balloon around SpongeBob's arm and blows it up. And SpongeBob just floats up and leaves. This is also something he could have done earlier, instead of being so obsessed with getting on a bus. So in this scene, there really isn't much to do here. The fish man saved the day. You just let him do his thing and you fly right up. So SpongeBob has now escaped rock bottom. If it wasn't for this fish though, I don't know how he would have escaped. I mean, Patrick in the end seems to be coming back for SpongeBob, which doesn't really make much sense since bus station dude said there weren't any more buses coming down here. So maybe he lied, or Patrick finally convinced the bus driver to go save SpongeBob. Either way, Patrick waiting this long is kind of messed up. Patrick was a bad friend in this episode. Anyways, surviving rock bottom is honestly pretty simple. I'm not gonna lie. When I was a kid, rock bottom seemed so much more scary and dangerous. But now writing this script and seeing how I'd survive, I now realize this place really isn't that bad. I mean, the fish down here did look scary, but none of them ever tried to hurt or kill SpongeBob, so he was pretty safe. Also, not to mention, a fish from down here literally saved him. So truthfully, to survive rock bottom, all you need to do is either respect the bus driver so he does not blacklist you from other buses or just kick you off. And if that's out of the question and you're in rock bottom, just relax, keep your head down and chill, and wait for Redfish homie to save you, or someone else. There's obviously nice fish down here.